Hey, what's up and welcome to SMA Marketing. It's been a while since I've made a video, but I'm back and I've got a lot of cool, new, and interesting things to share with you. Today, we're going to be talking about on-page SEO and does it still matter in today's world of AI? AI has been something that's been on the horizon for years. It's grown and it's grown and it's grown. And today we're really seeing a lot of the benefits, but also some of the not so much benefits with AI being involved in pretty much every aspect of our lives. And Google's embraced it to a whole new level. We've seen these with recent updates with the AI overviews, as well as things going on at Gemini. Apple just had a big announcement of integrating OpenAI into their platform. So it's here to stay. But do the basics still matter? Do we still need to have a solid foundation when it comes to optimizing our sites and optimizing our brand online? Well, thankfully, we got some insight into how Google looks at on-page SEO with the recent API document leak. So we're going to talk a little bit about how Google approaches websites and those on-page factors that still play a big role in our SEO strategy. Based on what we can see from the recent document leak, on-page SEO absolutely matters. So what we're going to do is walk through different elements that apply to on-page SEO and talk a little bit about how you and I can still optimize our sites. Title tags. Do title tags matter? Absolutely, title tags matter. So Google is looking at things like quality term coverage analysis. They're looking at a title tag and they're saying, is this page title matching the intent of the query? And they're looking at the title and they're looking at how that impacts the content of that as well. So what does that mean for SEOs? We need to have a title that accurately reflects the content on the page and make sure that it's incorporated in the title, but also in the page. You don't want to have this clickbait. You want to have titles that best describe what the user is going to experience. That's going to increase the trust with the end user as well when they come to your site. Google also uses a number of different metrics when they are looking at title tags, like percent of body title token, goldmine title tag factor, and is valid. So they're looking at how closely does this title tag match and cover the content. So make sure when you're writing title tags, when you're writing titles, that they are summing up what the user can expect when they land on your page after clicking on your link. Meta descriptions, do they matter? I know for years, we had Google tell us that meta descriptions don't matter. We don't factor that in when it comes to SEO, but Google does have the ability to still detect and penalize your site for duplicate meta description tags. Metas matter because they add more context for the user within the search result. If you have low quality or bad meta descriptions, you can see here that Google will assess the quality of these metas and consider how long it is. Are they keyword stuffing? Is it relevant to the content? Meta descriptions matter. Language considerations. It's looking at the different language for regional queries, right? So let's say you have a multinational site. You can't have English titles and metas all over the place. You need to make sure that you're making them contextual for the audiences that you're speaking in. Make sure that you're using those other languages. And then they're looking at text analysis, right? How relevant are the terms within the meta description? These are very important for the user, but they're also important for the search engines to better understand what your content is about. Some technical insights into what we've learned. Specific tags and keywords within the meta descriptions actually may influence how the algorithm understands and utilizes this metadata. You may not always get your meta descriptions to show exactly how it's written, but it's still being factored in when Google's weighing your page. So Google has minimized meta descriptions over the years. They have been abused, keyword stuffing, those things from people just following poor SEO practices. But as we can see in this documentation, that they still play a very large role when it comes to our SEO. And again, if you notice and you read through this, this is not something that you can just rely on AI to spit out a meta description for you and it'd be perfect. Use those tools to give you ideas. Ideation is a great thing, but then go back and try to contextualize it so it makes more sense for your user. So what about content? How does content play a role? Well, content quality and structure matter in a big way. Google looks at things like medium paragraph space, font size, the mean words per paragraph. They're looking at all of these different things when they're assessing content quality. So you need to have a good physical layout. You need to make sure your content is readable. It's not just about the content itself, but how is the content formatted on the page. Google also uses NLP and semantic analysis, which we know we've talked quite a bit about NLP, semantics, structured data, all of that on this channel. But you can see here that they're using these tools to understand entities. This is how a crawler, this is how a search engine better understands concepts in a more contextual way so it can provide that information to an end user. Content age and updates matter. Is your content something that needs to be fresh? Is this the type of content that needs to be updated regularly? You can see that Google is considering those things when it's looking at content freshness. So making sure that if you have that type of content that needs to be updated frequently, you're doing that. Page feature and snippet creation. These are when Google's pulling out those different elements on your page. Maybe it's a featured snippet, or maybe it's something that's being highlighted in one of these AI overviews. You need to make sure that your content is structured in a way that can be visible. Using headers, bullet points, direct answers to questions, these things that will allow you to be pulled in and shown more. The reality is the real estate on the SERPs is changing fast. We've got a lot more ads, we've got featured snippet boxes, we've got all these other questions and dynamic attributes all over the board. Not even to mention if you move into the e-commerce space, it's basically like an Amazon shopping cart in there where you've got filters and all of these other things in play. So as much as you can do to optimize your content so that you can get visibility in as many places as possible, it's really going to help you out. Now again, content and page rendering also matters. So it's not just the words on the page, but how it's rendered. How fast is this page being rendered to the user? Can they see the content that they're looking to see? These are things that you have to take in place. These are the technical sides of SEO that also play a factor when it comes to the on-page stuff like the content itself. What about images? Images matter. We're seeing a lot of different image box today. Images are being pulled in a variety of different ways. So you need to make sure that you're building these attributes to your images and that these images are optimized for speed, but they're also relevant with your titles, that you have meaningful alt attributions. They're accessible to the user. Make sure that they're contextually relevant. Like the images need to be in an area of text that makes sense, that speaks to the text. You know, with the way Google can read these images today, they can see that if you have a paragraph about dogs, but you get an image of a cat, it's going to know that those two things don't go together. So make sure you're being contextually relevant with your images. If you've got links on your pages that are not leading to necessary other pieces of content, you can actually use nofollow. Things like login pages or maybe external ads or something that's just not as relevant to that particular user, especially if it's like a blog page, you can add nofollow even on your own site. This means you're just helping that crawler visually go through that page and follow the right journey. So making sure that you're using that in the right way to optimize your crawling space, but also making sure that they're relevant and topic focused. That's going to play a role in your internal linking as well, using descriptive anchors, not just like read more, but being descriptive about what you're going to be taking that user to. Google's going to look at all of these things as it's applying different weights to your page. Some of the other things we need to consider are the structural components, right? Anchor text, context. Where are they at in the page? What are they saying? Is it contextually relevant with the other content that's around, or is it just out of the park, right? Link freshness and maintenance, right? How often are you changing these internal links around if content changes? If you've got older pieces on your site, you may want to go back and update them, but also change the internal links to newer relevant content that still validates what you're talking about. And again, site architecture matters. So this is going to play a role in how people move through your site, but also how that crawler moves through your site. So I hope you learned something new today. It's really interesting to see this documentation. I know there's a whole lot of things that we have to weed through to really make sense out of these thousands and thousands and thousands of pages. Now, there's a lot of people out there that are going to give you, this is everything that it means, or these are all the weights. We don't know that. We don't know any of the weighting scores, but what we do know is that on-page SEO still matters, and we need to be applying it to our sites, and we need to be trusting ourselves as people who are marketing to other people. We're not marketing just to Google and a search engine, because the reality is one day Google may not be here. But search is all over the place today. We've got search in chatbots, we've got search on social media, we've got search in search engines and more. So optimizing your site, these are the types of things that all of these programs are really looking at. Title tags, meta descriptions, your content, your images, how it's linked together play a massive role. If you've got any questions about what we talked about today, please comment below. I'd love to continue to have that conversation with you. And until next time, happy marketing.